What's up, Wolfpack TCG? We're here at Z's Toys and More in Seguin. We have a Pokemon deck profile for today. What were you playing?
Alright, so I was playing Mega Lucario plus Hariyama today.
Yeah, we love Lucario. Actually, it is my number one favorite Pokemon. You excited about that new Z Mega?
Dude, it is so cool. I love the fact that it kind of looks like a shark.
I was going to say, you're not a Hitsu no Miku fan? So, alright, we're going to be cracking into this. Was it just a normal tournament today, if I recall?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome sauce. Alright, so I'm really excited about Lucario. So, generally speaking, explain your deck, I guess. I myself haven't gotten to play Pokemon.
Alright.
Kids kind of dabbled in it, but never really got into it.
So the generic basic version of Mega Lucario is just using the attack Aura Jab to take the energy from the discard and put it on your bench. So you really just want to get rid of energy as soon as possible, and that's where Lunatone and Solrock come into play.
Okay.
So you're able to put Lunatone and Solrock onto your bench and use Lunatone's ability to discard a fighting energy to draw 3 cards. And then in tandem with that, you're also allowed to use Solrock, which does 70 damage for 1 energy if Lunatone is on the bench. And since it also doesn't have weakness or resistant hits, it hits for 70 damage no matter what, unless your opponent has an effect which decreases damage.
Okay, right on. So, what is a preferred opening hand?
So you're usually trying to start Solrock and Lunatone with a way to get an energy, or a way to get both of those. And then a also preferred piece to have is Riolu or Makuhita on your bench, as well as a couple energy. So you're usually trying to find the energy, and the best way to find that is using Fighting Gong, which allows you to find either basic fighting energy or a basic fighting Pokemon, and put it onto your hands. And then you also have a lot of draw, which is using the Lily's Determination, the Professor's Research, and the Ionos to try and just find as much cards as possible from your deck. And then you also have Makuhita and Hariyama to basically just act as a Boss's Orders card, just using an ability. So if you've already used your supporter, you can just use Hariyama to boss up one of your opponent's Pokemon. And since we do have 2, we also have 2 Professor Turo scenario, which just allows us to pick them up and put them straight back down to use them again. And then, so you have 2 Professor Turos, 2 Hariyamas. That means you also have 2 Boss's Orders. So technically that's 6 Gust cards in your entire deck, if you count it as that. So it's a very boss-heavy deck in terms of that. And then you also have a couple walls as well. So not only do you have Solrock to deal a little bit of damage at the start of the game, you also have Cornerstone Mask Ogrepon, just in case you kind of find yourself going against an all-ability deck. That means they just can't hit you. So it's a very, very good combo for that. The only bad matchup this card and this deck has is Gardevoir EX, which just so happens
which is my
to be
second
the
favorite
best
Pokemon.
deck.
The irony to that. But so that would be your general toughest matchups. It's just the Gardevoir EX. You don't really struggle against anything else, or is it just at that point kind of depends on your hand and your opening?
I would say either Gardevoir, because Gardevoir hits for weakness, so it does double damage. You also have a bad matchup into Goldango, because Goldango can hit for basically as much damage as it wants to. So in that aspect, that is why you're using Cornerstone Mask Ogrepon, because Goldango decks usually rely on solely either Soul Rock damage or 70 damage, or Goldango, which has an ability. So since Solrock doesn't have an ability, you can hit for 70. However, what you're basically just going to be doing is using Cornerstone Mask Ogrepon to wall out your opponent. And anytime they pull up something like Solrock, you just kill it with Demolish, because it does do 140, which is enough to KO.
Okay. So generally speaking, if you were to make any changes to this, is there any thoughts that you'd be rotating out, maybe adding one more of or one less of?
I would say less Professor Research and more Boss's Orders, because you really just want to gust every turn, if possible. But other than that, I would say maybe one more Makuhita, or one more Cornerstone Mask Ogrepon. It's just slight tech cards that you would use in say as a regional or a league cup.
Okay, right on. Alrighty. With that being said, is there any shout outs you want to do?
Shout out Comic Cards Texas. That is my YouTube channel.
Okay, awesome.
That's about it.
Alrighty. Well, you heard him here. Don't forget to go check out his YouTube, hit that like, subscribe, and smash that share button. With that being said, this is Wolfpack TCG, Leo. We are closing it out. Don't forget, we're going to be setting up for a giveaway hopefully soon, once we hit 50. So if you guys are into the Gundam TCG, don't forget to like, share, and smash that subscribe button. But till next time, have a good one.